budget, you've got a food service budget, you've got a tech budget, and then of course the R word, the referendum, and yeah, exactly, it's grimace. And but you know, the bottom line is that there's too many dollars here that can be covered by LTFM on your deferred maintenance. So you're going to have to come up with other mechanisms, and so it's just the reality. But the good news is we've got you balanced on LTFM. Good, healthy, steady diet of LTFM dollars used can get you by till that 2025 year mark. That 20, you know, really looking at a 2024 could help take care of, you know, another 20 million, and that could solve the big upcoming spends for the district. That number, TBD. You need to figure out what that number is, and that's going to come from a task force and some ongoing work. So what is that number? I don't know. That's the best guess, but there's about 20 million in deferred maintenance. What is it above and beyond that based upon educational adequacy needs? I've kind of shown here that the 2022, 23, 24, low, and then boom, 2025 is that's where you hit the kind of your tipping point, and you need to figure out what to do. Next slide. I break this down in priorities, and this kind of mimics exactly what I just said here. Jordan Elementary, its needs are in the first priority, the first 5 years. Jordan High School, its needs are in the last 3 years, or in the last priority 3 there. So really the next steps, there is an LTFM plan that has been presented on behalf of Tim and Amy. So thank you, Amy, as well. She's been a huge help on this. And but there's an LTFM plan put together for you guys. We had some help in that, but really that was the work of Tim and Amy. And then really begin to engage in discussions on the next steps regarding your deferred maintenance plans. What do you want to do with this plan? How do you want to handle this? Your educational adequacies, and then what are the financing methods? Like I said to Renee, and I just so you guys hear, we're here to help. At Krause Anderson, we can help with if there's referendum work to be done. That's Mr. Solander that can really help with that. If there's understanding educational adequacy, we'll bring another gentleman that cannot be here because he's at another school board meeting tonight. His name is John Hunick, which will help with the educational adequacy component and figuring out those bits and pieces and what those dollars should be for those needs. And then, of course, Mr. Vanderbloemer will be your PM, your main source of contact, and then Renee knows how to get a hold of me too. So, but I just want to thank you guys for the opportunity to serve you guys. This has been, you guys are fabulous people to work with, and it's been a lot of fun. Are there any questions before I stop?
I was just looking at that second to last slide. So based on this, you guys are estimating a replacement of the elementary at around 25, 27 million, something like that?
Correct,
right?
Yeah.
Other questions for Tim?
And sorry, that metric is based upon a raw square footage dollar
Sure.
amount versus that square footage. If that changes, escalates, you know, you got a vision for a pool or anything, that obviously those numbers change. So, yeah, sorry, Deb.
No, I was just asking if anybody else had any questions for
Tony, anything to add? Or
Tony Scholander, I worked with the district back in 2014 when we did this project. I've been in this room for a while. It's really kind of ironic. Nice job, Mark. Kim, I'm sorry. It's really kind of cool to look at this, I think, and say, oh, that new building. Well, when I worked with you, that was 2014. That was 6 years ago. It's kind of like the new zoo, right? Well, the new zoo was built when I was in high school, and that was almost 40 years ago. The new zoo is not so young, right? And so the point is, you know, we just these buildings just keep aging, just like we all do, and they represent the second biggest item on your balance sheet, other than staffing, which is facilities. And I always counsel groups I work with that, you know, building them is relatively inexpensive. because for every dollar you spend to build them, you're going to spend $2 to $3 to maintain, operate, and repair and replace aging assets like your chiller at your high school. We thump our chest as builders and as architects and so forth and say, we're building a $10 million project. Well, the owner just bid off $30 million to operate, maintain, repair, and replace. And that's where these dollars come in. So I think just from a perspective, from a context for the public, I think it's really important to understand that when you look at one of these items, like a chiller, like a roof, like a parking lot replacement, like the drainage, when you look at it by itself, it's a very different piece of decision support than when you contextualize it with educational adequacy, with enrollment capacity, and then that physical deficiency itself. Now we've got an entirely different puzzle to solve, don't we, when we look at all three of those together. So those are the kinds of things that myself, John Hunick, we bring to the table. We facilitate a process like that with stakeholders and so forth. And so we're, as Tim said, we're here for you to, however you decide to proceed into the future. And that's what we get to do, working with you. So thank you so much for the pleasure and for your faith in Krause Anderson.
Well, thank you very much. This will be very helpful for us, and I know I can speak, I think, on behalf of the board. We know how critical it is to maintain our facilities and keep them up. I think we learned that tough lesson when we did this building. We know that it probably should have been cared for a little better than it was in years past before us. So we truly value the input and value taking care of our facilities. So thank you.
It's been our pleasure. But wait, there's more.
Okay, yeah.
One thing, so we're going to leave behind a lot of information for you. Hope if you could just kind of swing over to, we've delivered what's called a Spark page. This is a online, basically online review of this information. We've got this PowerPoint associated. They're all, those buttons underneath the facility delivered, those are all buttons. You can click on those, and on there is our digitized report, our 450-page report. We also split it up amongst the schools, and so you can go through school by school, or you can look at the whole district. We've got our FCI summary. We've also got our various Excel spreadsheets that Tim and Amy will use really for their benefit. But you can look at it from a line item per line item basis as far as how we costed items, the deferred maintenance items. So all this information's there. We've got all our meeting minutes. We interviewed your food service folks. We interviewed your technology folks. And so we've got all that information there. And then there's our numbers if you want to reach us or if you need to scare away some mice. So that's all I have there. So Renee, anything else?
You'll forward the email link, the link to
Yep.
the board?
That'll be coming in the morning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Deb, thank you. Thank you, Renee. Appreciate it.
very much. Thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Okay. You want to talk next steps at all, or just move on to LTFM?
I think we could just well, I could do both. Okay. So next steps for us, our facilities committee will be gathering again routinely and taking a look at the information again, and then really mapping out what our planning process will look like. What do we want for stakeholder input and feedback? How often should we be meeting? What are some of the main topics we need to prioritize? And so that'll be the work of our board committee, facilities committee that will be getting together. Separate from that, annually, every school district needs to approve the 10-year LTFM plan. Amy will be coming forward in just a moment with the executive summary on that. It's a requirement by the state. We review it literally every year, and so we don't usually get tied into the weeds of what it says in year 9 or 10 because we know it will change every year. However, this year we have better information than we've ever had in recent years because of the extensive work we just completed with Krause and the assessment study. So Amy will be coming forward next as a next agenda item to review and act on the executive summary for LTFM.
Thank you, Superintendent Eganson. Thank you again, gentlemen. Okay, Amy, I'll call you forward for review and act on the long-term facility maintenance 10-year revenue and expenditure plan.
Good evening. So every year at this time by July 31st, the board has to approve the 10-year LTFM revenue and expenditure plan. So what we've done, Kraus Anderson made it a little easier for us this year. Again, it's just a placeholder of what we think is going to happen within the next 10 years. So MDE gives us spreadsheets that we can go through. So just a little recap. So for this summer, for the fiscal year 2022, some things that are going to be worked on is we're going to finish the train system at the JHS. We're going to get bids and quotes on the auditorium curtain replacement. We're going to do the wrestling mats at JMS and the JHS. We're going to tile some walls in the common spaces, carpet the next phase of classrooms at the JES, and then do parking lot repairs at all 3 facilities. So that's what's going to happen. Tonight we're going to approve the LTFM plan for fiscal year 2023 for the 10-year plan. So when we do that, it's just placeholders, but Hope, if you can click on the 10-year expenditure Excel spreadsheet.
It's probably from work or
Yeah, I can't. And I know it's going to be hard to read. I do have copies, but you also have them in front of you. So what this is, what we were able to do this year with the help of Kraus Anderson, we took off of their plan that they gave us, their total dollar amount for each, what I would call a finance code, or things like mechanical system, building envelopes, and we were able to put those dollar amounts, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, Hope, I think this is the revenue. Maybe let's see. That might be the wrong one. That one. Let's try that one. That one, is it? Maybe it's not all in there either. So our revenue is based on our PPUs, and that amount is filled in by the state. So what we were able to do is we put this, go down. Yep, oh, right about there. So we could, off of Kraus Anderson's 10-year plan, we could do each year what we estimated the costs were going to be, and we actually had the way our revenue comes out. We were actually have a carryover every year until the 2025 period, where we have to start spending some more money. So we've been pretty conservative, and we're doing the plans. We're doing a lot of the work at all of the schools. That's what we're estimating we're going to do, except at the elementary school, where it's most needed in 2025. So that's basically it, and you can see for yourself and approve our 10-year plan that we have to submit to MDE. Any questions?
So moved.
I'll second. Aye.
Aye. Just turned on. Thank you, Amy. Okay, review and act on the approval, that one is off, never mind. Review and act on the 21-22 Metro X-Suit membership. Superintendent Evenson.
So annually, Jordan Public Schools approves membership into the EXU, and they provide lots of services for us, joint purchasing, different professional development, lots of different supports for some of the low incidence programs that districts really can't support on their own. So my recommendation would be to approve this annual membership.
Okay, any questions about EXU?
example of what low incidence things?
So, there might be, we might not have the same population, say, of English learner students that other districts might. And so we might not be able to do some of the programming things on our own, and they might have a level of support that we could tap into for a teacher training or, some kind of a service that we could hire them for. They have other, options as well. They also serve as kind of a state touch base spot for us. So this last year when we were picking up kind of the safety items from the state, we often would pick them up at our XU. We were assigned to that area. But they do a lot of different things with cooperative purchasing, early childhood special education, and special development reports and just different things that support us really in a variety of areas. Yep.
Do we utilize them a lot? Because that.
Yep.
Okay, good questions. Any further discussion or questions? Okay, hearing none, we have a motion and a second on the, do we have a motion? No, looking for a motion.
So moved.
Ryan moves, is there a second?
I'll second.
Second, Sarah, discussion, further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, on to the superintendent's report.
All right, good evening again. I'd like to give just a few updates on our fall planning. We did open up our public comment form back in, early June, and re-communicated that out to the public maybe a week and a half ago. And we've probably had about 178, 179 pieces of feedback, which is really nice to have. And the participation is really helpful for us. And it's always interesting because it shows us we have such a balanced community. We kind of see different things on both ends of the spectrum. But highlights really so far confirm high priority in wanting Jordan Public Schools to continue our strong sanitation measures that we had in place into the next school year. And then also the self-symptom check, so families making sure they're not sending their kids to school if they're sick or have symptoms, and as well as staff. If they have a fever, stay home. They seem like pretty common sense things, but we also have people that try to tough it out. And so we want to make sure that we're paying attention to that. Specific comments are pretty split in relation to some of the other protocols. One thing that I do want to clarify and make sure the public understands and knows, as a school district since probably June 5th, we have not required masks at all in our facilities. They are recommended, they are not required. We have no idea what will happen in the fall. The assumption is that we would continue with that, but until we find out from the Department of Ed what school districts are required to do, we don't know. But it's worked really slick this summer. Families decide, do what they want to do, and it's gone pretty well. And then transportation really is the only other piece. They're still requiring the masks on transportation, but I believe we'll get an update on that fairly shortly. For us, we don't have students really riding transportation at this time into certain programs at the scale that we had in June, so it's not really been a conversation. Other back-to-school preparations, our leadership team is working really hard to plan for the school year. Cleaning is happening. It's that time of year where we are shampooing carpets, scrubbing floors, painting, doing different projects. And so really kudos to the staff that are making that happen right now. We continue to provide summer meals to our families as well, so that's been a really nice thing, and we're happy to support our kids in that this summer. We're beginning to finalize plans for back-to-school workshops, open houses, and other special events that really mark that awesome time of year where the kids start to come back. So we're kind of getting excited about fall open houses and all of the things that more traditionally we've done in the past, and we're going to be able to do those this year. So we're very excited about that. As we plan, of course, we're mindful of that public comment, and at this time, I do anticipate that we'll be back full in person with, very typical protocols. We have no reason to believe anything else at this time, but we're really excited just to be able to see kids eating in the lunchrooms and playing on the playgrounds together and all of that. Moving forward, that we really have been limited in a variety of ways the previous 2 years. So very, very optimistic and excited about the fall.
Thank you. High school principals report. Any comments or questions on that?
Can I ask a question about the superintendent's
Yes,
report?
absolutely.
Are we formally out of the safe learning plan? Like, or is that ambiguous?
It's ambiguous. The executive order is done,
Yeah.
that enforces all of that. We received an email from the department either over the weekend or this morning, and just shared the CDC's new guidance, and in that it shared that the state will be coming out with their guidance and recommendations forthcoming, but it didn't really give any inkling as to what that would be. I think it would be challenging, for things to go so smoothly as they have this summer, with districts being able to, really make that decision and follow guidance that we can surely recommend and let families decide, but not require. So I think it would be really challenging for them to do an about face on that. But, we don't know. And I think the other piece is too, just with like vaccinations. Certainly we'll make them available. A lot of people want vaccinations, so great, do that. But we don't require that. We don't require any vaccinations. Everyone can be a conscientious objector in Minnesota if they don't want to do that. So it's just, there's a lot of unknowns, but it would make sense, and I would be very surprised if it was anything more than we recommend but don't require.
Thanks.
Other questions for superintendent?
So then if it comes down to that we recommend but don't require, then it would be up to us as a school board on what.
Well,
And if the state of Minnesota said you guys decide
Yeah.
as a district, then it would be us.
well, as a school board, you could, or you could, have your administrative team put that into place and operationalize it as they would typically with any state requirements moving forward.
Okay. Okay. Jeff's report, the high school. I just want to comment that second semester, 40 students earned college credit. That is incredible. That's really great. So glad to see that. Ben's report, middle school. Any comments or questions? I just want to note that Ben does have in here that they have, the sixth grade team and Ben have decided that they will continue this year with Wolf Ridge. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. We had that discussion at our last meeting, so I think it's important that we note that.
Yep, and I also just wanted to comment how they were including seventh grade to kind of do their own adventure as well.
Yeah,
So-
that's good.
Yep.
I'm really glad to hear that too.
Me too.
Because those kiddos missed out on that opportunity, so glad to
Fun
hear that.
adventure, yes.
That's good. Melissa's report for the elementary school. Do we know what our kindergarten numbers are?
I think 115. I actually looked the other day. Yeah, I think right now we're at about 115.
Any other comments or questions on elementary? Okay, Director of Teaching and Learning, Southwest Metro e-learning enterprise, professional PD opportunities for the staff. Any comments or questions?
Do we have an idea of how many kids would like to participate in virtual learning?
No, Southwest Metro has not done a registration yet. That will be coming shortly. I will say we have a preliminary idea. We did put a survey out there probably late April, early May. There wasn't much interest at that time compared to what we thought there might be. At the least, maybe 5 to 7, and at the most, maybe 30. I think it's just going to depend. And truthfully, a lot of the feedback was if you require masks, we're 100% going online, and if you don't, we'll be back. So it's really hard to say.
Thank you.
Yep.
Oh, if kids did distance learning, it would be through Southwest Metro, is that what I'm understanding? It wouldn't be our
Nope.
teachers teaching, okay.
Nope, that ended with the executive order.
Okay.
But they still would be our students.
They still would be our ADMs, yes. And we would just pay that service. And in fact, the way they're setting it up with Southwest Metro, the online platform, like even for our kids, when they log in, it would be like a Jordan landing page and all of that. Because one of the things we want to maintain is the relationship with those students too. I mean, they're our kids, so we want to make sure they feel like Jordan kids. I mean, they'll participate in activities likely and all of those components. It's very similar to when kids do online CTE courses and different things. The cost just will be far less because they just want to get by and maintain. They're not looking for a profit for that. We don't know the exact cost yet, but that's been the communication. And for us, it makes a ton of sense when we have such a low incidence number of students. It's great if we can offer that opportunity to families that do want it and maintain them as Jordan kids.
Okay. Activity director's report. Great volleyball numbers. First time ever having 4 high school teams. It's good. Gotta get those soccer numbers up there. That's good. Any questions on Joe's report? And then he has attached all the renewals for the spring coaches, which we approved tonight. And again, this coming year will not be a musical, but there will be a high school traditional play, not a musical. So. Community ed report. I know Stephen had shared that they were just, their numbers have been just gangbusters
Yeah.
this summer, just.
Well, I think people feel so good about being able to participate, and they're less, worried about. I mean, we didn't know what we didn't know last summer, so it's excellent that we have the participation and kids are involved.
And he said they don't have enough fields.
Yeah, that's real.
Yes. Okay, communications and marketing, Lisa's report. Any questions or comments? Andrea's report on nutrition services. They're feeding a lot of kids this summer.
Yeah.
They're-
Yeah, we actually are doing a more robust program this summer, and we're offering it to any of our students that are participating in activities on campus, as well as curbside pickup for families that want to register and pick up a meal. So I think in the first 2 weeks, I feel like she said we did like 3,000 meals. Like,
Wow.
Yeah.
This says 1,300 breakfasts and 1,350 lunches. The majority of those, though, are probably kids on site doing programs.
They were
or-
before the 4th of July, but after that, I would say a lot is curbside pickup, and then also kids that might be at max,
Sure.
weight training and different programs on campus.
Okay.
Athletic type, activity type.
And you're moving forward with doing some work in the elementary kitchen, correct?
Yes. Oh, goodness. I was going to mention that in my report, I think. I guess I didn't do that. Sorry about that. We are. And we believe that should be completed by the start of the year, of course. Anything can happen, but we're very excited about that. It offers some efficiency and flexibility and some safety mechanisms for us. We kind of talked about it at our board walkthrough back in, I think, May. And we had kind of looked at it, and I know it's been kind of a hot topic over probably since 2018, even before the referendum year, just trying to figure out what we can do in there to provide a safer experience, not just for staff, but for the kids as they're walking through with some of the hot pans and different things. And so we found a really affordable and really efficient and safe way to do that. So we're very excited to have some of the flexible carts and things moving in there this summer.
Chad's report, special services.
Must have hit my watch.
great news that we completed our MDE file review and that we're in compliance with due process. I just want to give a shout out to Chad and his team because I know that that is a humongous undertaking. When that file review comes up, it's nerve-wracking for them, so shout out to Chad and his team. Tim has been busy, we know, working with Kraus Anderson. The grounds look really good, Tim. The lawn, I don't know how you keep it green with the lack of rain, but the grounds do look really nice. And we have a new renter in our house, so that's good. Okay, board and committee reports. City school did not meet. Communications did not meet. Community ed rec joint powers. Lauren is not here. Sarah? Okay, it's summer.
Yeah.
Curriculum and tech, we did not have a meeting. Facilities did not meet, but we will be gearing up.
We met.
We did meet
We did?
with Kraus. A week ago?
Oh, that's right, Molly was gone. That's right, never mind. Yes, we met with Kraus, but I was thinking beyond that, I was thinking committee. Thank you. Yeah, and basically, Tim went through the same presentation that he did with us tonight, so. Meet and confer did not meet. Negotiations, we still have not met. We met our initial one time, haven't met anymore. Policy. Yeah, all that tonight, yes, right. APAC, I don't believe met. Booster?
Yep, met. We kind of talked about it with the donation for the supported coaching. And then they went through the class meeting and everything, all of the board members and supporting the benefits to off the board now. They're to accept now.
Okay.
What does that mean? Has it been in for a while?
Side.
Oh.
Got on
Got
this
it.
board.
So,
So she will be officially the liaison person, the board liaison person meeting, so. Ed Foundation, I believe we need,
So, but we did meet, one of the things is we made 2 development programs and they were successful and I think we loved them. We made
$200 on the grad grams. There was a recommendation to get a building liaison from staff for each building, and Renee was gonna brainstorm how that worked or check with some of her counterparts on how that worked. They felt that it would be beneficial, especially during applying for the grants and all this stuff, that there would be a contact person in each of the buildings. So they were going to work on that, and so hopefully we'll meet this month.
I think that's next Tuesday, I think, I'm pretty sure. And legislative, we're grateful that the legislative session ended, yay, rah, rah. And we ended up with 2.45 and 2.2. But I think it's important for the public and the staff and everyone to know that that does not equate to 2.45 and 2 for us. In our district run, it equates to a 1.9 and a 1.3. So it's all in the weird formula runs that school districts do, and based on free and reduced and transportation and all kinds of different formula items. So
But we're really, really appreciative.
we're very
Yes.
appreciative.
Because
Yes, very much so.
my heart was thinking we weren't gonna get near that amount, so we're very appreciative of that.
And I think even more than that, I know personally, and I'm sure the superintendent Evenson too, we're grateful that there were very little mandates.
That, and we didn't think that was gonna be the case.
Not at
Moving
all.
forward, there were pages and pages and pages of state mandates that were all over the charts.
Yep.
And so we were grateful that there were very, very few. Senator Pratt actually stopped by today. And I thanked him on behalf of the district as well. And you know, he shared that he and Senator Chamberlain really worked well together and really appreciate Jordan Public Schools as well. So,
Yeah, so that was good news. I think that was very good news
Yep.
for us. High school league, well, let me think. We have some new board members. Our neighboring superintendent from Prior Lake. Terry Stalock is a newly appointed member, superintendent representative on the State High School League board. They approved, which we approved at one of the last meetings, they approved their fee structure. Yeah, other than that, they're just gearing up for tournaments and fall and everything else going on. They were very, very, very appreciative of Jordan hosting the golf tournament here again this year and the State High School League baseball tournament. So they love working with the community of Jordan. Scale?
We haven't met, no, not since before the last board meeting.
Now that it's reliably in person,
Yeah,
I think I can get it on my calendar.
Yeah.
I to this day do not get the emails.
Okay, okay.
I must have wore up my walk when I was
They-
an alternate.
Yeah.
Got on the
no,
wrong
they
list.
literally are buried in our junk. It's
But now
terrible.
it should be the same Friday.
Yeah,
now.
it's usually the first Friday.
First Friday.
Yeah, like 7:30
And
a.m.
At the link still. Right?
Yeah.
SEAC, I don't think you might think you can. And Southwest Metro, we are in the midst of many days of contract negotiations. Today we meet from 9 till 3. I've been taking a lot of time off of work. I think we've met, this was I think our 6th full day of negotiations today. We have 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. We're making great progress. It's very cohesive, congenial, really good negotiations going on. I really appreciate the interest-based collective bargaining, and I really hope that our district looks at that down the road because it's really a good process.
So are you negotiating multiple bargaining units like at the same time?
No, this is strictly the teachers. Yeah, we haven't started their, whatever I can't think what the name of their other group is, but we haven't started that one yet, so. I want you to put this date on your calendar, September 24th. I think it would be fun if our whole board could do this. It's from 8 until 1. And it's a bus tour of several of the Southwest Metro facilities. They'll be going to the Dean Lakes facility, which is their new facility where their offices are, and many of their programs are going to be run out of there. The 401 building in Chaska, where they have their career tech program, and I don't know what else is in there. 401 is mainly their career tech. East Creek Family Center, which is where New Beginnings is, and then River Valley Education Center here in Jordan, and then they'll also be going to the St. Bonnie Education Center. So those are only a couple of their sites. Obviously, we would be gone for a couple days if we went to all of their sites, but it's really an informative day. They provide a lunch, a box lunch with it, so that's a fun day, and I think it would be nice if our full board could attend that, and our superintendent. Other than that, let's see what else. They're just, Southwest Metro is just gearing up for fall. Really nothing else too much new there, I guess. So, any comments? I know Connie has a big announcement.
We're number 14 in the nation, Jordan Trap Team.
Wow. That is amazing.
That's something else.
It's amazing. It's amazing. We had some awesome shooters. We had 2 teams there. They were in Michigan, and very, very, very gifted kids did an awesome job. And my grandson shot a 96 and a 98. So that means his first shoot he did a 23, then he shot 2 25s, which was perfect, and then he shot a 23 again, and he dropped his last bird on his yesterday. But the kids did awesome. It was really good weather and whatever. So the scene came out a really big bang. And yesterday they did really well. And I was trying to watch this game because I don't know if you can say this. I always want to be ahead of New Prague, and we were top and top. They were just always 1 or 2 points ahead of us. So I don't know what the ending score was, but it was New Prague, Jordan, Prior Lake. There was a TCU shooter that was in that thing. So if you really think about the 20-mile area, we have some really, really gifted trap teams in the area. They did a really good job. And there was 2 girls from Jordan that were on the team too. So, and usually we had, Allie was on our team last year, and we really have gifted boys and girls. So it was a good way for the seniors to end their career. So they're done. And can't go without saying thanks to the coaches, because we had 2 coaches go that didn't even have kids on the team. And so that was really, really, and they shoot Sunday nights and Monday nights, so that's a big commitment for those people. And a good shout out to the Montgomery trap. They give our guys the keys to the range, and they let them load their own clays and everything. So they are phenomenal, along with Minneapolis Gun Club is a good team to work with. So really appreciate all the sponsors. You see every week the donations that we get. Costs a lot of money to buy a pallet of bullets, whatever they, and the people that unload them and store them or whatever. So appreciative to Minnesota State High School League for recognizing that as a sport, because it's a good sport. So many times you hear families say, my child had a disability of some sort, but they could do that because somebody took the time to individually work with them, and they still get the personal feeling of belonging to a team, because everybody's always cheering on whoever's on the line and whatever. And if you have that disability, sometimes you're not always included, and I see that in the trap team that they really do. They do that. So appreciative of that. So, yay, Jordan Trap.
Yes. And we'll get them here for recognition. Yes, yeah, we'll have to. First meeting in August.
August 9th, maybe.
Yes. Any other board comments on anything that anybody wants to share?
Just glad to have kids busy in summer activities, and the middle school Max program is amazing. It's
Yay.
awesome to get kids out of the house and expending that energy. So
They're all eating the lunches too. Briggs comes home every day.
That's
good,
so great.
good age for that. Come home and eat another lunch, probably.
Right?
Right. Great. Well, if there's no other business, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a motion by Ryan. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Molly. Discussion. Hearing none. All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned.